The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside, and we are in the Ingalls studio, and it is time for another 2022 post-Senior Bowl mock draft. 7-round mock draft as chosen by our very own Flowstradamus. Jeremy Greene and the Los Angeles Chargers.
This is my favorite class of every team. There is a player that needs a tremendous amount of explanation, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
It also has my favorite pairing of a player in this draft to a team. With the 17th pick in the first round, the Los Angeles Chargers select Jordan Davis, defensive tackle from Georgia.
6'6", 340 pounds, and you need to stop the run? Yeah, this is a good guy to do it.
Well, one of the biggest problems that the Chargers had last year is the interior of this line was just not good. So what do? You add the best run stuffer in this class by a tremendous amount. I do think this would help you get more out of Kenneth Murray. This is one of those positions where if you can get the interior of the defensive line right, it makes everybody else look better. The thing about Jordan Davis, his weight is going to be a problem. There were times that it looked like he was about 380 at Georgia. The weight's going to fluctuate. You have to keep him on the right path. The other thing, he provides virtually nothing as a pass rusher. So he is a two-down interior of the defensive line. This is Grady Jarrett. That's exactly what you're adding to the interior of this line. That's who he looks like. That's who he reminds me of. And if you add that, if you're able to add that in the first round, I don't think anything could go better for the Chargers. The one thing I will say is that I see people put him way too high. If he goes ahead of this, it's going to be a mistake because he will never be anything more than what I just said. But he is so good at that one thing, and he fits perfectly with the Chargers.
All right, with the second pick for the Chargers, comes in the second round at 48th overall. Kenneth Walker III, running back out of Michigan State. This is the guy you've been looking for the Chargers, the between the tackles guy.
That's exactly what he is because he doesn't provide much in the way. Basically, everything Austin Eckler does, Kenneth Walker can't do. Everything Austin Eckler doesn't do well is exactly the reason that Kenneth Walker is one of the best running backs in this draft class. I think in the right situation, he can be a high-level first and second down running back. There is no better position for him to fall into than with the Chargers because you have somebody in Austin Eckler that is the jack of all trades, that can be the passing down back. You don't have to ask Kenneth Walker to do that. The thing about him that makes me a little nervous, he never accepts a loss. He will make it worse virtually every single time because he cannot just chalk it up as a loss and move on. The motor runs really hot, very aggressive runner, one of the best between the tackles runners I've ever graded. But like I said, he provides nothing as a pass blocker. I've seen very little of him as a receiving back. Hands seem to be fine. This is not what he does. Mm-hmm. This is the player I've been talking about going to the Chargers for 2 solid years that would change this offense completely.
In the third round, the Chargers have number 79 overall, and here you've got Adam Anderson, linebacker out of Georgia. Had it not been for the off-the-field things, he would have gone in the first round, don't you think?
Top 15.
Yeah.
He's one of the 15 best players in this draft. However, he has been accused of sexual assault. The reason that he's in this mock is that every person I've talked to has said they believe that that the charge is either going to be dismissed, whatever the case may be, so I had to put him somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know how quickly all of those things will happen. We talk about this all the time. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a cop, so I have absolutely no idea what happened. From what I have been told, he will be in this draft class. He will be draftable, and it appears that the legal things will not be an issue. That being said, even if it's dismissed, he's still going to get pushed down. There will be teams that will not touch him. Mm-hmm. If there was no legal issues, and again, I'm going to say this one more time just to make sure everybody understands it. Not a lawyer, not a cop, so I have no idea. This is coming from people in the league that say he is going to be on their board because they are comfortable enough. This is a guy that several teams have hired FBI profilers to deal with his profile. So the talent is incredible. 4.4 speed, 6'5", 230 outside linebacker, can play with his hand in the dirt, can play standing up. Very versatile player. Not a great run defender right now, but this is one of those. The Chargers have enough talent, and they have enough cap space, and they have enough that if something went awry, and what I'm being told is wrong, you could deal with the fact that this happened. There's not many teams that fall into that. The Chargers are in one of the best cap situations of any team in the league, because so long as they don't overpay Mike Williams, they're not going to have a bad contract on the entire roster. So that's the kind of team you look for to take a swing like this. Something could come out next week that completely changes this. But with what I've been told, I couldn't have him go unselected, because if the legal things go away, that will not happen. If they don't go away, then he's undraftable. But the talent is certainly there, and if it wasn't for that, he would have been a top 15 pick.
The Chargers have the 121st pick overall in the 4th round, and you got them taking Nick Zakelj, offensive tackle out of Fordham.
Very raw. There's a lot to like about him. The level of competition is obviously a problem. He is built like a stereotypical offensive left tackle, 6'5", 315. The good thing for the Chargers, they don't need him to be that right away. This is a 2 or 3 year down the road idea. A, you have your left tackle for the future. B, your line's really, really good, minus Brian Bulaga. So that right tackle spot, you've got to find somebody that you can develop, because he just lives hurt. He's fine when he's healthy. Problem is he's never healthy. So Nick Zakelj is a guy that could come in, be the swing tackle. If something happened to Bulaga, he could start at right tackle. That's probably the best scenario. I don't really want this kid to have to play early, because the level of competition is going to be a tremendous jump. As of right now, he's a better run blocker than he is pass blocker. Not bad at either. The flashes are incredibly good, but there's some inconsistent tape, some inconsistent motor, and he is a little lead-footed. At 315 pounds, that's not really shocking. He doesn't fall into that dancing bear criteria, but the raw on him is tremendous.
In the 5th round at 159 overall, Bubba Bolden, safety out of Miami.
This is a high IQ player. This is one of the smartest players in this draft, which is a good thing, because on sheer athleticism, he's borderline undraftable. But he's so damn smart. 6'3", 210, a lot of things that you really have to dig into the tape to see, because he's not very fast. I mean, this is a safety that's probably going to run the 4.6s, which is what pushes him down to here. A lot of really good tape, just going to have to get – if he's going to play to his physical limitations, he's going to have to get way stronger. He will be an in-the-box safety. He pairs nicely with Derwin James. It's just going to take some time. This is not a plug-and-play. Now, I do think he can help you on special teams immediately. The technique is good. There's a lot of very sound things about him. He just has physical limitations that put him here, as opposed to the day 2 projection that some of the tape would tell you he would fall into.
The Chargers are going to have to do a lot of deep diving on this draft, because they've got 6 picks left, and they're all in the 6th and 7th rounds. 2 in the 6th round. First one at 193 overall, Nehemiah Pritchett, a cornerback out of Auburn.
There's a lot to like about this kid. One of the things that he did get picked on at times, but he had Roger McCreary on the other side of him, who is one of the best corners in this class. I think one of the things that made him look worse than he was is that a lot of teams in the SEC were trying to stay away from Roger McCreary. So you start getting pre-snap motions that leave him one-on-one with John Mechie or Jamison Williams, or I could do this for a while. There are a bunch of draftable receivers from the SEC in this class. He's a very good cover guy. He's just not a 1. The problem is that most of the bad tape was when he was defending the 1. Good. The footwork on him is incredible. Really good against the run, but he is raw. Probably going to run tremendously fast. 4.35-ish. The only problem is that I do think he needs to get bigger to play the way that he plays in the NFL. 2 years down the line kind of projection, probably a guy that wouldn't even be active for the first half of the season. You got to get him stronger.
Yeah. All right, the second pick in the 6th round, 214 overall, Dominique Robinson edge rusher from Miami of Ohio.
This is one of my favorite players in this draft, and I thought I was going to be able to keep him to myself, and then I started getting asked tremendous amounts of questions about him.
Okay.
He's very raw. If he had played at Ohio State instead of Miami of Ohio, he would be a day two guy. 6'4", 255, really lean. I think he projects as a very good pass rusher. The thing about him is that he probably fits better in a 3-4. He probably fits better standing up. The only thing is that with the raw talent, you can put his hand in the dirt, and he's got Joey Bosa on the other side. So that mitigates some of the problem. You don't find many players that are this naturally talented. He's not an elite pass rusher now. Doesn't have a tremendous amount of moves, and he's not crazy quick, but I think his 40 time is really misleading. He's going to run somewhere in the 4.6s. He's faster than that. Look at his shuttle, the shuttle, the 3-cone, things like that, and that will show you his short area quickness, which is what I see as him being a situational pass rusher a year or two down the line.
All right, in the 7th round, they have 4 picks. At 233 overall, Trey Turner, wide receiver, Virginia Tech.
I am very much of the belief that they should not pay Mike Williams, because Mike Williams is going to get a dumb contract from somebody, and I'm tremendously afraid it's going to be my New York Jets. So, Charger fans, if you lose him, just understand you're going to get a 3rd-round comp pick for him, and that's probably more valuable than he would be with the contract he's going to get.
Bingo.
The cap ledger for the Chargers is clear as hell, and I love Josh Palmer. They're a slew. I like Jalen Guyton. Trey Turner is very, very raw, but I think he can be a high-end deep threat in this league. I mean, a high-end deep threat. 6'2", $180. The problem is going to be that anytime a corner jams him, he becomes borderline irrelevant. He's so fast that I don't think you're going to see that a lot, and he's very raw. This is not a player that's going to come in and start right away. This will be your 5th wide receiver, and you hope that a year or two down the line, you can take the deep ball ability, teach him a legitimate route tree. Virginia Tech just runs the ball so much that it's hard to project these guys. But you do see high-end skills. There's a reason he's still available in the 7th round, but there is a lot of raw that I think would fit nicely with Justin Herbert.
At 251 overall, Nick Muse, a tight end out of South Carolina.
This is one of those just lunch pail kind of guys. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
I wish he was faster. This is a 4.8 kind of tight end, and he's not a great blocker. But he's got that thing that's kind of hard to quantify. This is the guy that you see in the huddle screaming at teammates that blow assignments. Hyper competitive. There's some technical issues with him, but I think there's a lot of raw ability that you can work with. I don't think he'll ever be a high-end receiving tight end, but I do think he can be a very good blocker. The technique's good enough. He just needs to get stronger. Going to need some time, but there's enough raw to make him a draftable talent, which is why he goes here in the 7th round.
At 252, Allie Greene the 4th. Cornerback out of Mizzou.
This is a guy that I'm not as wild about as a lot of other people are. He started at Tulsa, wound up at Missouri. He's a very good tackling corner. One of the better against the run. I genuinely think he's going to play safety in the league. 6'2", 202. He's a good enough tackler, and he's bad enough as a man cover corner that he projects as a safety. It will take some time. Very, very tough kid. This is one that if we were picking a team of guys that I would really like to be in a fight with, I want him on my side because he is a tough kid and he never backs down. The tape that really is hard to watch at times is when he lines up, especially when he presses. You would think a 6'2" corner lining up on a 5'10" receiver, you would have the advantage in press. Mm-hmm. He doesn't, and he never does, and gets just obliterated sometimes doing it. That being said, I do think he will run reasonably well, especially for a safety, probably in the mid 4.5 range. This will be a complete transition because, to my knowledge, he's never played safety before, so he would have to completely learn the position. But he is, at this point in the draft, he's too talented for you to bypass. There are issues, and it would take time, but there are not many kids that are this size that can tackle this well.
Lastly, at 255 overall, Nick Brahms, center out of Auburn.
Nick Brahms looks like a kid that I'll bet you he has driven a tractor at some point in his life. I will bet you at some point he has fed a pig. He looks like he grew up on a farm. Now, the weird thing, he's from Florida. I didn't know that until I started doing the preview of this, because watching the tape, he is a country strong kind of kid. There are some limitations with technique. He needs to be taught a lot, but he is. I look at what the Chargers want to do, and center is not a need by any stretch of the imagination. This is a long-term projection. But I see some of the same things in him that I see in Corey Linsley, because he moves really well for a guy his size. There are not many centers that can do all of the things the way that this kid can, but he's so raw technically. That tells me that this could be a really good pick. There are not a lot of centers in this draft, and this is one of my favorites. Now, there is some really bad tape. He dips his shoulders a lot, which I don't really understand. He just gets out of position. It's another one of those where his feet and his hands do not seem to work under the same brain at all times. But if you put the time in, I do think he projects as a starter in the NFL. One of the biggest things that he dealt with, speed. Speed was not a huge detraction for him, but the big, strong interior lineman pushed him around at times. The Alabama tape was not his friend, and that's the reason he's going to go in the 7th round as opposed to about the 5th, which is where I had him before that.
All right, that's your 7-round mock draft post-Senior Bowl by Flowstradamus Jeremy Greene. Here in the Sportsocracy, Jordan Davis, first rounder to the Los Angeles Chargers, soar up that you kept saying throughout the year, if you can't run the ball and you can't defend against the run, you're not going to be a very good team. Well, they've done it with Kenneth Walker in the 2nd round and Jordan Davis in the 1st round.
This is one of my favorite draft classes. If you like this class, if you don't like this class, if there are people you would like to know how they fit with your Los Angeles Chargers, feel free to put those in the comments. I answer those on a daily basis. This is one of my favorite draft classes. The Adam Anderson thing obviously puts it in some flux, but he had to go somewhere, and he fits nicely with the Chargers. I do 3 mock drafts. This one, I will do one after the combine, after free agency comes down at the end of March, and then I will do another that goes out 2 days before the NFL draft.
Don't forget to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the Sportsocracy so you can get all of our team-by-team pre-draft content here over the coming months. 2022 post-Senior Bowl 7-round mock drafts continue. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and we will see you next time.